Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Andini, and I am a student from the fourth semester of the English Language Education Study Program. In this opportunity, I would like to present and explain the summary of the material that I have learned before, which focuses on language assessment. First, let me start with the definition. Language assessment is an important tool used to measure students' actual language ability. Through assessment, teachers can understand how well students have mastered certain language skills. The main purpose of assessment is to ensure that the test or measurement instrument used is of good quality. In other words, the assessment should accurately reflect students' real abilities. According to Douglas Brown, there are several principles of assessment. However, in this presentation, I will focus on three main principles, namely validity, reliability, and practicality. The first principle is validity. Validity refers to the extent to which a test actually measures what it is supposed to measure. In other words, the test must be accurate and appropriate for the skill being tested. For example, if the purpose of the test is to measure students' reading ability, then the test should contain reading tasks, not listening activities. There are several types of validity. The first is content validity. This means that the test material should represent the curriculum or the learning objectives. For instance, if the goal is to assess students' ability to write a paragraph, the test should require students to write a paragraph rather than answer multiple choice grammar questions. The second is construct validity. This type of validity focuses on whether the test reflects the theoretical concept of the skills being measured. For example, a speaking test should evaluate aspects such as pronunciation, fluency, and vocabulary. The third is criterion-related validity. This means the test result can be compared with other established and valid tests. For example, the result of an internal test may be compared with standardized tests such as TOEFL. The second principle is reliability. Reliability refers to the consistency of test results. If a test is reliable, it should produce similar results when given under similar conditions. However, several factors can affect reliability. First, the condition of the students. If students are tired, sick, stressed, or hungry, their performance may decrease and affect the consistency of the result. Second, unclear test instruction. If the instructions are ambiguous or confusing, students may misunderstand the task, which can reduce reliability. Third, the rather are scorer. If different teachers use different standards when grading, the scores may vary significantly. To improve reliability, teachers should use clear and standardized scoring rubrics. For example, a scale from 1 to 5 with detailed descriptive criteria. The third principle is practicality. Practicality refers to how easy and efficient a test is to administer. A practical test should not be complicated and should be manageable for both teacher and students. A practical test usually requires reasonable cost, manageable time, simple administration, and easy scoring. For example, Using online tools such as Google Form can making the scoring process faster and more efficient. As an example, testing the speaking ability of 200 students individually for 15 minutes each would take around 50 hours. This method is clearly not practical. A better alternative would be conducting group discussion or group presentation, so the process becomes more efficient. In conclusion, a good language assessment instrument should fulfill three important principles: validity, reliability, and practicality. The test should accurately measure students' abilities, produce consistent results, and be efficient to implement. When these three principles are applied together, teachers can obtain more accurate and data about students' language ability and make better educational decisions. Okay, maybe that's all from me. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.